Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजक आचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस एसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्भागवतम की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 11, text number 38. Etadishanamishasya prakristhopi tadgunaihi na yujyate sadatmasthair yatha buddhistadashraya. Etadishanamishasya prakristhopi tadgunaihi na yujyate sadatmasthair yatha buddhistadashraya. Etadishanamishasya prakristhopi tadgunaihi na yujyate sadatmasthair yatha buddhistadashraya. Nayujyate sadatmasthair Etadishanamishasya Mataji's. Etad, this. Ishanam, divinity. Ishasya, of the personality of Godhead. Prakritisthai, Prakritistaha, being in contact with material nature. Api, in spite of. Tad gunaihi, by the qualities. Na, never. Yujyate, is affected. Sadatmasthaihi, by those who are situated in eternity. Yatha, as is. Buddhihi, intelligence. Tat, the Lord. Ashraya, those who are under the shelter of. Translation purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Translation. This is the divinity of the personality of Godhead. He is not affected by the qualities of material nature, even though he is in contact with them. Similarly, the devotees who have taken shelter of the Lord do not become influenced by the material qualities. Purport. In the Vedas and Vedic literatures, Shruti and Smriti, it is affirmed that in the divinity there is nothing material. He is transcendental, nirguna only, the supreme cognizant. Hari, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is a supreme transcendental person situated beyond the range of material affection. These statements are also confirmed even by Acharya Shankara. One may argue that his relation with the goddesses of fortune may be transcendental. But what about his relationship with the Yadu dynasty, being born in that family, or his killing the non-believers like Jarasandha and other asuras, directly in contact with the modes of material nature? The answer is that the divinity of the personality of Godhead is never in contact with the qualities of material nature in any circumstances. Actually, he is in contact with such qualities because he is the ultimate source of everything. Yet he is above the actions of such qualities. He is known therefore as Yogeshwara, or the master of mystic power, or in other words, the all-powerful. Even his learned devotees are not affected by the influence of the material modes. The great six Goswamis of Vrindavan all came from greatly rich and aristocratic families. But when they adopted the life of mendicants at Vrindavan, superficially they appeared to be in wretched conditions of life. But factually they were the richest of all in spiritual values. Such Mahabhagavatas, or first great devotees, although moving amongst men, are not contaminated by honor or insult, hunger or satisfaction, sleep or wakefulness, which are all resultant actions of the three modes of material nature. Similarly, some of them are engaged in worldly dealings, yet are unaffected. Unless these neutralities of life are there, one cannot be considered situated in transcendence. The divinity and his associates are on the same transcendental plane, and their glories are always sanctified by the action of Yogamaya, or the internal potency of the Lord. The devotees of the Lord are always transcendental, even if they are sometimes found to have fallen in their behavior. The Lord emphatically declares in the Bhagavad Gita that even if an unalloyed devotee is found to be fallen due to a previous material contamination, he is nevertheless to be accepted as fully transcendental because of his being engaged, 100% in the devotional service of the Lord. The Lord protects him always because of his rendering service unto him, and the fallen conditions are to be considered accidental and temporary. They will vanish in no time. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalaam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So before I begin, I would like to seek the blessings of all the assembled devotees here. So this verse we are discussing from the 11th chapter of first canto, and describing the glories of Krishna and the glories of his devotees. So it says, Krishna is not affected by the qualities of material nature, even though he is in contact with them. Similarly, the devotees who have taken shelter of the Lord do not become influenced by the material qualities. So, to some extent, it is easy to understand that Krishna, being the controller of material nature, material qualities, he won't be affected by these qualities. If I am in control of something, that thing cannot bind me, that cannot negatively influence me. So Krishna says in the Gita, Mattah parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya. Tribhir gunamayair bhavirebhis sarva. So I am above all these three qualities. I am above the material nature. The material nature is emanating from me. I am in control of them. So naturally, that thing cannot control Krishna. It's logical. But the devotees who have taken shelter of Krishna are also not influenced by these three qualities. So ordinarily, a living entity, because he is a marginal potency, he is prone to get influenced by these three qualities. But the only way to remain unaffected by these qualities is to take shelter of Krishna, who is unaffected by these qualities. Like in the Gita, Krishna says, Namam karmani limpanti name karma phale spruha iti mam yo bhijanati karma bhirna sabadhyate. So namam karmani limpanti. I am not entangled in the activities of this world. Name karma phale spruha. I don't desire also anything. And one who understands this nature of mine, iti mam yo bhijanati, one who understands me in this fashion, karma bhirna sabadhyate, that person also does not get entangled in karma. That's a very simple solution from one point of view. And such a big, complicated setup is there here in the material world, solely to entangle someone, keep someone bound. Like we have that, in that Champak Chandamama comics, you have that maze. You start from here, and that person has to end somewhere. It's a whole complicated mesh. You go here, it gets blocked. You go here, it gets... There is only one way out of the whole mesh. So similarly, this whole material world is like a mesh. There is one entry. We have already entered. We can't go back. Somehow the person has to find out the exit route and get out of the whole mesh. So ordinarily, it is impossible. It's a complicated network. Like in the Gita, Krishna talks about the inverted banyan tree. Such a huge banyan tree with so many branches and stems and leaves. One is sure to get diverted to so many other fruits and not realize the way out. So the only way out, Krishna says, iti mam yo bijanati janma karma cha me divyam evam. Tyaktva deham punarjanma neti mameti. So understanding Krishna, understanding his activities, understanding how his activities are divine and transcendental. This is the key to get out of the material world, get out of the entanglement of the material world. So in this verse, the verse says, Etad Ishanam Ishasya. This Ishanam, Ishanam means opulences, the divinity. And the divinity and the opulences of Supreme, Prakritistopi Tadgunaihi. Although Krishna is situated in the material world, he does not get entangled. So like Prabhupada in several places talks about how impersonalists consider Krishna to be a product of the material nature. Although they claim to be liberated, but because they consider Vishnu to be a product of the modes, that is their offense. Like in one purport, one article, Satsarup Maharaj writes, how to understand the difference between living entity, material nature and God. So he gives an example of a doll. There's a doll which looks like a person. There is we human beings, and then there is God. So a doll is completely made of matter. In and out, it's total matter. Although there may be eyes and nose and hands and legs, all organs and limbs are there, just like an ordinary human being. But in and out, it is all matter. And a human being, external is matter, but internal is spirit. Spirit encaged inside matter. Whereas Krishna is in and out spirit. Just like the doll is in and out matter, Krishna also has a form, Satchidananda Vigraha. But everything about him is spirit. So only a human being caught in the material world has both material identity and spiritual identity. Originally we are spiritual, but now we have accepted a material body. So in this way, we human beings tend to, like in the purport, one point is mentioned, how our general tendency is to improve the material condition. So many problems and troubles are there in this material world. An ordinary living entity will try to eliminate all the problems, negate everything, so that one can remain peacefully situated. But a pure devotee, as mentioned here, he doesn't put all his attention to get rid of material qualities. Swargapa varga narakeshu apitulyartha darshina. Narayana parasarve nakutaschana bibhyati. Whether he is placed in hellish planet, heavenly planets, or the earthly planet, the pure devotee is always concerned about how to render service to Krishna. Whether the condition be hellish or heavenly or paradise-like, that is external. He is not affected by the external miserable or happy conditions. Like Kulashekar Maharaj writes in his prayers, very nice prayer. He says, Divi va bhuvi va mamastu vaso narake va narakantaka prakamam avadhirita sharadar vindau charanau te marane pichintayami. Divi va bhuvi va. Whether it is in the heavenly planet or the earthly planet, narake va, or in the hellish planets. Let me reside either any of these places as you please. I pray only one thing. At the point of death, I may remember your two lotus feet, whose beauty defies that of the lotus growing in the autumn season, Sharat season. Avadhirita Sharadara Vindau. So lotus feet of Krishna is compared to the lotus blooming in the autumn season. And Krishna's lotus feet, its beauty, defies the beauty of this lotus. We have no idea how this lotus looks like. We hardly get to see these lotuses here. But it seems these lotuses are very beautiful. The autumn season wala lotus, very beautiful. But surpassing this beauty is the beauty of Krishna's lotus feet. So Kulashekar is praying, let me remember these lotus feet, the beauty of your lotus feet. As long as I remember this, I don't care whether I stay in heavenly planet, hellish planet, anywhere in the universe. Then he says, Karacharana saroje kantiman netramine Shrama bhuji Shrama mushi bhuja vichi vyakule gadha marge Hari sarasi vigahya piya tejo jalaugham bhava maru parikhinna klesham adyatya jami. So this material world, he compares it to a desert. Bhava maru parikhinna. This material world is like a desert. It has exhausted me. But today I will cast aside all troubles of this material world, material desert, by diving into the lake of Lord Hari. Hari sarasivi gahya apiya tejo jalaugham. Diving into this Hari Sarasi, the lake of Lord Hari, and drinking apiya tejo jalaugham, and drinking freely of the abundant waters of his splendor. And the lotuses in that lake, they are like the hands and feet. And the fish inside the lake are like the brilliant shining eyes of Krishna. That lake's water relieves all fatigue. And this lake is agitated by Krishna's mighty arms. And the current flows deep beyond comprehension. So in that lake, Kulashekar says, I want to dive and drink that waters. So in the Bhagavatam also we find couple of instances where diving into a lake is given. Devahuti diving into Bindu Sarovar when Kardama Muni asked her to get ready after their marriage. So Devahuti dived into the lake and then she came out. Thousands of maidservants inside the lake helping her take a bath and dress herself up, decorate herself up. And then she comes out totally decorated and beautiful. And then Kardamuni and Devahuti enjoy. Even in the 9th canto, you find our Chavana Muni's wife, Sukanya. Chavana Muni diving into the lake of Ashwini Kumaras. He was an old man and he knew his wife is young, so I cannot attract her. So when Ashwini Kumaras came, he requested them, please revive my youth. So they told him, okay, dive into this lake. And he dove into that lake and he came out totally young, handsome man. So these lakes are like, no, you're reviving your youth, reviving your material beauty. Of course, they have the spiritual benefit also. Kardamuni and Devahuti's bathing also has spiritual connection. But in this case, Kulashekar is saying, I want to dive into the lake of Hari, not just to regain my material senses, material youth, so that I can enjoy this world. But I want to dive so that I can enjoy Krishna's beauty, Krishna's form, drink that nectarian beauty, and remain eternally youthful. And then he says, Bhava jaladigatanam dvandva vatahatanam Suta duhidrikalatra trata bhararditanam Vishama vishayatoye majjatam aplavanam Bhavati sharanameko vishnupoto naranam. Vishama vishayatoye majjatam aplavanam. There are people, ordinary human beings are aplavanam. They don't have a shelter of a boat. They are drowning in this ocean of Vishama vishayatoye. And for such people, Bhavati Sharanameko, there is only one shelter. Vishnu Poto Narana. The lotus feet, the boat of the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. So very glad to have His Holiness Vishya Prasanna Tirtha Swami Maharaj. Let us welcome him in our traditional style by loudly chanting 3 times. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, हरि बोल।